Are you shopping for a used RV but worried about getting a lemon? In this video, I'm going to share 6 of my tips for shopping used RVs. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to have a special announcement, so be sure to stay tuned. If you're new to this channel, my name is Jacob. I'm a certified technician and owner of Rigger RV Repair. In my experience, about a quarter of the repairs I end up doing are completely preventable. If you subscribe, you'll get to see my daily short videos with tips about how to not break your RV. And be sure to like videos that you find helpful so that I know what kind of content to create more of. So what are my 6 tips for buying a used RV? So tip number 1 is to buy from a private party rather than a dealership. See, dealerships, when they take trade-ins, it's often people are not happy with that RV because it's had problems, which is why they're trading it in. Whereas a private party, usually they're selling the RV because they just aren't using it anymore. You're much more likely to get full disclosure about any issues that an RV has from a private party than a dealership. See, dealerships, they want to hike the value up as much as they can to make a profit on it. And sometimes that means hiding problems with an RV. For example, one of my clients, he had bought the RV used and it had new tires on it. Well, when I looked in the wheel well, I found that there had been a blowout on the original set of tires and it had torn out the plastic lining under the decking and we had wood rot up there as a result of this damage from the tire blowout. So they threw a new set of tires on this to kind of disguise the problem and flipped it. And unfortunately for my customer, we discovered there's a lot more damage he didn't know about. Private parties, when they're selling an RV, they're just not as practiced at being deceptive about issues that the RV might have. Tip number 2, first thing you should do whenever you're looking at a particular RV is go and research price through a third party. A good source for that is jdpowers.com. It's kind of like Kelley Blue Book. They have price listings for RVs. So for your particular RV, you'll find prices in a various range. The higher end being the better quality ones with less issues, the lower one being RVs that have been more beat up. How do you know if what you should pay for that RV is the upper end or the lower end of that value? This leads me to my third tip, which is to look for signs of low use when shopping a used RV. If you're shopping for a used car, mileage is the best indicator of the condition of the car. But with RVs, it's a little more complicated than that. Travel trailers and fifth wheels, they don't have an odometer, so you don't really know how many miles are on it. Motorhomes do have an odometer, but sometimes people buy that motorhome, park it at a permanent location, and use it very, very heavily, even though it doesn't have many miles on it. This is why you have to know what to look for as far as signs of wear and tear on the RV part of it rather than just the odometer reading. I could make a whole video about signs of wear and tear on RVs. What I'm going to do now is just give you 3 of the most easy to spot signs of low use. Number 1, if you look at the slide seals, this can tell you a lot about how much it was kept indoors or how much it was used. You see RVs that have had a lot of heavy use, with the slides out, the sunlight destroys those seals very quickly with ultraviolet radiation. If you see slide seals that are cracking or falling apart, that's an indicator of a heavy level of use. The second sign of high use that I would check for is the generator hours. If you see more than 300 or 400 hours on a generator, sometimes I see like 2,000-3,000, that's definitely a sign of high use of the RV portion. Now, low generator hours doesn't necessarily mean low use, because if the RV was parked somewhere permanent and plugged into shore power all the time, it can still have high use on the RV, but low hours on the generator. But like I said, high hours on a generator is definitely a sign of high use and more of a red flag. My third thing to look at as far as signs of use is the bottoms of the slide outs and whether they have any wood rot. A very common problem is that slide outs have cracks in the caulking and water starts to come in and it can rot out the slides, which causes huge problems if you're trying to use the slides. So by putting your finger underneath and pressing up, you can feel if the wood is soft or if it's just mush, or if it's still rock hard and solid, which is what you want to see. So these are just 3 easy things to check. Obviously, there's a lot of other signs of high use and low use on RVs to look for. Be sure to leave a comment if you want me to make a video covering more of that topic. And high use doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad RV to buy if it's been well maintained. And this leads me to my 4th tip, which is to ask for maintenance records or the maintenance history on the RV. So what maintenance records really do you want to ask for? The biggest issues I see are with either engine and drivetrain on a motorhome or axles and wheel bearings on towable RVs. So you want to know when and how frequently the wheel bearings were serviced on fifth wheels, travel trailers, pop-ups, etc. If it hasn't been serviced in the past year or so, then you're definitely going to want to have that done. On motorhomes, because the engine and drivetrain is like a car, it needs its fluids changed regularly, and optimally, they would be following the service interval recommended by the chassis manufacturer as far as lubrication, changing transmission fluids, etc. A lot of times that gets overlooked, but you can find owners that have been very diligent about having everything done. So my fifth tip is that if it's been garage kept, I would pay a premium for that RV. There's a lot of factors that come into play when an RV is in storage. Weather, sunlight damage, rainwater damage, these have a huge effect on the overall deterioration of an RV. I worked for a customer once and I was surprised at how immaculate this thing looked. It was 20 years old and it literally looked like it had just come off the showroom floor. And I asked him about how he cared for his RV, and he said that he keeps it in a barn or under garage storage year round. He takes it out 4, 5, 6 times a year, so he's been using it a lot. But because he washed and waxed it every year and kept it in the garage, the slide out seals looked perfect, the roof looked perfect, and the interior was just immaculate. You can find those deals out there. It is rare because people don't always care for their RVs well. So if you're storing your RV, try to keep it undercover. If you can't find a garage, get a cover to put over your RV. That'll help with the sunlight and rainwater damage. Free tip, not related to this video. And my sixth tip, final tip, and honestly the most important one here. If you're shopping for an RV, new or used, hire an inspector. They will go through an extensive checklist and tell you everything that is wrong with it, which that might not be a deal breaker, but it definitely gives you negotiating power if you have a list of things that need to be repaired. If you have any more tips that you found helpful in shopping used RVs, be sure to leave a comment below. I'd love to include that in a second video. So, what is my big announcement for all of you loyal watchers who have stuck around to the end of this video? I've been just flooded with comments and emails asking for my opinion about particular RVs that people are shopping for. And it makes sense because when you're going RV shopping, half the battle is just not buying a lemon. And unfortunately, there are a lot of lemon manufacturers out there. So I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be making a new video series where I will be reviewing particular RVs and giving you my opinion on how quality the build is based on the kinds of things I see break as an RV technician. I'm gonna need your help with this. I want to review RVs that are gonna be the most helpful to my viewers. So be sure to leave a comment with what RV you would like for me to review. If you see someone else has left a RV type comment that you are also interested in, be sure to like or comment on their comment as well so that I can see what's the most popular. The comment section on this video will help me decide what RVs to review first. So help me out. And if you haven't signed up for my email list yet, be sure to do that on my website because you will get my free 4-point Don't Get Stranded checklist. This covers 4 of the most common reasons that I, as an RV technician, get called out to stuck campers in the middle of someone's vacation and how you can avoid that happening to your RV. So for all of you out there shopping for a used RV, I hope you found this video to be helpful. I hope you're successful in getting an RV that serves you well. Happy camping.